Hello, welcome to Moving On Podcast number 72. On this episode, today I'll have Chip Nellinger. We're going to do our After the Bell here segment and talk about the crop reports. I got Kirk Hinz from BAM Weather on, going to give us a rundown of what's happened with this heat wave that's running across the middle part of the country. And I always got my buddy Aaron Fintel here with me. So, Chip, let's go ahead and start with you first. The crop progress report came out today, and it looks like the wasn't a very positive move for the markets.
No, so first of all, we had a pretty ugly day in beans. The big news last week, or the hope was that we're going to get this Chinese trade situation hammered out, and actually the opposite happened. So we sent our trade reps back from China without much of a resolution. The market really took that hard today in the case of beans. We're down 25 and a quarter in July beans, down 19 and a quarter in new crop November beans on the fears that this is going to drag out longer. China's really been absent from export sales here recently in beans, and really hit the market hard. The funds have a long position, near record long, 180,000 contracts, and now some negative news hit the market. So that was kind of the main feature, the main news feature of today. Corn down 5.5 in July, 4.5 in December. The wheat market got hit pretty hard too, down 14 and 3/4 in July wheat, down 16 and a quarter in July Casey wheat. And the biggest issue there is a little better chance of some rainfall in Kansas, Oklahoma. You mentioned though this afternoon, 3 o'clock Central, the market now is watching the crop or planting progress report. So we came out 39% planted in corn. A little bit higher than the average. They were looking for about 37%. So we, on average this time of year, we're 44%. Big progress here in Illinois. 74% complete with corn planting in Illinois, as opposed to 56 on average. So big progress here. However, the Western Corn Belt's lagging a little bit. Iowa's only at 40. They should be 48. Minnesota's at 9%. They should be 44. You guys in Nebraska are just a touch under at 42, should be 46. And then again, South Dakota is really lagging, 6%, should be 33. On the beans, we came in right about in line, 15% planted in beans, 14% was expected, so no big issues there. We'll see. We're getting an update here on weather, so that's going to be kind of the key over the next week. To 2 is how much rain are we going to get? That northern corn belt, I think, may have a chance of some rain. Is that going to slow them down? Are they going to continue to plant? And then again, what do these funds do in beans? If they're just starting the process here and this China thing is scaring them out of the market, there's quite a bit more selling pressure to hit in this bean market, and it will spill over and drag the corn lower as well.
Right on. Okay, what the crop progress report that came out today, what part of the South American crop part, did they have anything really to say about that was going to drive markets either one way or the other?
No, so that'll be Thursday. On Thursday, we've got the USDA reports, 11 a.m. Central. They'll give us an update of new crop. They'll give us our first snapshot of new crop, U.S. balance sheet. They'll also update South American weather. That was another thing that was maybe a little bit negative to the corn market, is at least a hint of some rain in some of the dry areas of Brazil. Who knows whether they're going to get that or not, but it spooked the market a little bit and kind of led to a little bit of selling pressure in the corn market. We did have a weak crop condition report out, right in line with what was expected, 34% good to excellent. Not much of a change in Oklahoma, Kansas. The improvements came in the Northwest, Idaho, Washington, that area of the wheat production area. Saw some rain and wheat looks good out in that part of the area. Not so good in Oklahoma and Kansas at current.
All right, man. All right, Chip, if guys want to continue this conversation with you and give you a shout, how would they do that?
Yeah, best way is just call our office, 309-550-7213.
All right, Chip. Well, we'll catch you tomorrow, and till then, have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right. Up next, we got Kirk Hinz from BAM Weather. And Kirk, how you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. So I've been watching Twitter here, been watching some of your posts you had out there, and I saw one over the weekend that kind of caught my attention. You had a heat map that was going across the Corn Belt through and through the Midwest and everywhere else. It looks like there's a significant amount of heat coming through.
Yeah, I would say at least over the next 2 weeks. So what's going to happen at least over the next week is the entire central U.S. is going to be well above normal. So what it will also do is it will allow energy to kind of flow over top of what we call a ridge or an area of high pressure to set up across the central United States. So that is why there is some pretty significant rainfall in the forecast for, I would say, eastern Nebraska into Iowa, southeastern South Dakota, and southern Minnesota. And there's multiple rounds. There's midweek, and then there's late week into the weekend here. I mean, we could be talking 3-4 inches locally in some of these places. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of warmth here across the central U.S. and then pretty good precipitation chances across some of those areas that Chip mentioned before that are trying to get more consistently out in the field. I think locally in some of those areas that I mentioned could be seeing some field delays out there because of that. So I see that warmth kind of continuing into the week 2 time frame here, kind of getting into mid-month. I think the precipitation overall kind of shifts a little bit more south and to the east. But I think this heat is here to stay, and I think it pops on over into June, too. I think we're going right into winter, right into summer.
That's about how it works anymore, it feels like. So what's happening down in South America? I know Argentina went from having a pretty dry spell to a pretty wet spell. So here we are about a week or so after that fact. How's that look?
Yeah, so Argentina is going to still get, I would say, honestly, 400 to 600% the normal rain over the next week. To put that in perspective, that's 3 to 6 inches of rain, and that's significant
400 to 600%.
because it's the dry season right now, and they can't even get those soybeans a little bit green out of the ground. So not only is that going to be an issue, you've got southeastern Brazil in areas like Mato Grosso do Sul, Parana, Sao Paulo, areas that are big in that safrinha corn crop area. They can't get a drop of rain. They haven't seen rain in 45 days down there. They won't see rain in the next 7 days. I know some other vendors out there are kind of suggesting some rains to return over the next week. A lot of times what happens is models show rain 5 days out, get closer, and it can't pick up on how really dry that it is, and then it just saw it.
Right on. Zaps it.
Same. Sorry about that.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's just the same story that we saw December to February, and how rain was in the forecast and then it never produced. I am targeting a storm around the 14th to 16th. I think could offer some relief. I think it's short-lived. I think it's temporary. It's not going to offer a permanent solution. I think there's dryness lingers in the safrinha corn crop area, and it's going to be an issue.
Right on. All right, man. So if guys want to maybe check out some of the stuff that you have to offer there on your website, where would they go find you at?
Yeah, come check us out over at bamwx.com. B as in boy, A as in Adam, M as in Michael. Check out some samples on the website. Contact us. We're happy to help. I would say on behalf of you guys, we'll offer anybody that's interested in a 30% off as well. So we're really glad to be on.
All right. Well, man, I appreciate you being on, and we'll catch you later in the week, man.
All right, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks. See ya. All right. Nate Wisehart. The mighty powerful Nate Wisehart. What's up, man?
How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, fine. I think I downloaded like 4 apps before I finally got into your little meeting here.
Well, that's what it's all about, man. Apps and other great things that go along with those apps.
Like appetizers?
Appetizers. That's exactly right. So, welcome to the Monday Rundown, or whatever you want to call this, that we do on Monday Throwdown, that we do here for all kinds of fun and what have you. But so Gina Nargis was usually with us here on Monday, but she has some drastically more important things to do than being on the podcast, and so she's going to go out and do some social media stuff with some planters in the field and some soil warriors out there running around. So she's going to go do that. But I would like to introduce our guest, Nate Wisehart, which is no stranger to the show. He's been on a couple times, but a little different role than you were last time you were on.
Yeah, and a different logo and a different state and all that fun stuff.
So you're with, you were with Ernie Williams, and then it was Casey Nelson. They merged together, purchased, or whatever you want to call that, and then you guys, now you're working for Martin Sullivan. So give us a kind of a rundown of what you're doing now, and and what some of your new roles are.
I suppose officially it's a corporate aftermarket manager. So
Okay.
I've given up the sales side and focus solely on parts and service for the Barton Sullivan organization, which is, Ernie Williams was about a third of the size of what Barton Sullivan is. So I still got my hands full every day of the week, and it seems like 24 hours a day if I really wanted it to. But right now, just trying to paint a house the color that the wife wants, and trying to get acclimated into a new job. So,
Yep.
The cool part is this is where we grew up. So our family's all here, and I'm starting to see familiar names, and familiar faces, and things like that. So it makes it kind of fun.
Right on. Okay, man. Well, let's jump right in and take a look at a few things here. So, your last position that you had when you were with your former company, you really were you were a sales manager. You were in the day-to-day operations at the sales department, kind of going over what you saw happen with used equipment. So now you went from now you're over in Illinois now. So now you're having a little more of a, I don't know if it's probably anything different than where you were at before. I mean, I'm sure it's still corn and soybeans and all that fun stuff. But talk to me about what you see happening with planting right now, and what do you see happening out there with just the equipment in your area?
So from what I can tell as I drive, this is only the second week, so as I drive from point A to point B, I would say they're basically done around here. There may be a few scragglers left, but there's not a whole lot. There's emergence coming up. You see pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, so you can see rows as you drive down the interstate now. So they'll be jumping in the spring and just waiting for it to grow more or less. We got some rain in the forecast, I think, this week, so I'm sure it's mixed with some heat, so it's probably going to explode. I mowed my yard twice in this last week, so that gives you an idea of how fast everything's growing, I guess.
Right. Less fertilizer helps that. So
EPA laws are stricter in Illinois.
all right, buddy. So, Aaron, you're on the internet. You're talking to guys all over the country right now. What are you hearing about planters and stuff like that rolling, and what are you seeing there?
I feel like we went from snow drifts in the field to everybody's done and the combine's greased up in like 10 days.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we talked last week. It is just, and not everybody has a 24-row DB90 120,
Right. Yeah.
mile wide planter. But it's just, it blows my mind how damn quick thousands and thousands and thousands of acres can get planted.
Yeah.
I do know a lot of guys which aren't your normal midnight oil guys. We're going almost around the clock just in order to maybe catch up since we had a late start, and also they've seen all spring how conditions will be, hey, man, it'll work great tomorrow. Oh shit, it rained or it snowed or something, and then you start that cycle all over again. Whereas, when it was fit enough to go, they were going, and they were not stopping at all for anything.
Yeah.
So there was a whole lot of catch up done in short order.
Yeah. I know out here they're banging sugar beets pretty hard in the ground right now, and there's a lot of planters rolling right now, and they're getting ready to kind of make that switch into corn.
Right.
And we're probably, a week away from that, if not this week probably, in jumping into planting corn.
I know a lot of non-beet guys are already in corn.
Are they?
Yeah.
So that's, it's kind of showing where that's at. So that leads us into the machines that pull the planters around. What are you seeing out in your neck of the woods, Nate, with some row crop tractors and some four-wheel drives?
Okay, so row crop, four-wheel drives. So just the difference between the two areas, I say there's a lot of similarities. There's more cattle or more hay down this way where we're at now, but up there, it's just corn desert. I kind of felt like as we went into, there was kind of a spurt in January where everything, you kind of felt like, man, this is going to be a great year. And then somewhere in February and March, and maybe maybe it's because I was distracted with other things, but it just felt like we just went and just stopped. And I think that, up there, they're negotiating cash rents. People just want to start farming, and then it just kept snowing constantly. They were getting big snows up there on that Minnesota-Iowa border. The day that we moved, they got another foot. So, and that's not that long ago. And now they're planting. So, the mood was probably more weather-driven, but you could just see the salesmen there. Not that their dapper was down, it just wasn't the activity that they're looking for. How that relates to values, the fact of the matter is that at that time, it's still getting harder to find, especially up in North Central Iowa, there's a lot of tractors, and finding a used low-hour tractor, not from Washington or Arizona or like Mississippi or somewhere weird, those were really hard to get their hands on. So there were still people hunting for those, and especially planters. Whether I'm here at Martin Sullivan or not, or up north, there's not a lot of planters in the lots. So used planter demand, I think, is still a bright spot for us.
Yep. Now, I would echo all that. I mean, you take a look at our lot, what we have for used planters, the stuff that we haven't Frankensteined up with precision planting, minus that stuff. I mean, what we have in inventory it's like a 7300 or a older 1770 or something like that. So our used planter marketplace, we don't have that much to pick from.
Right.
And so it's getting to be tougher and tougher to find, especially the older plant. I mean, a lot of guys have older planters and they're wanting to trade up to take their 8 and move it into a 14 or something like that and make that move, but kind of goes back to the dollars and cents thing of right now too. I mean, there's, like we talked about earlier, the 14 model 1770 planter is probably one of the most sought after planters right now. You still seeing that?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's hard to tell right now.
Right.
I got a couple guys that are, put the bug in my ear that they're wanting to do something on a planter. The biggest thing right now is you have 360 days
right
until they have to have it.
Right.
So if your guy has a bit of, and the other thing, EOP's in June, so you're at a point right now with planters where unless it's an emergency, you're not going to do much at all. And then you're going to go into the sell new.
Right.
Let the dust settle. See what you got for used.
Yeah.
And then market the hell out of them used ones.
Yeah.
Like Nate was saying, it's still a good market. It's a bright spot. You got to be careful. Just because it's a bright spot don't mean you get all batshit crazy. But if you got and I think honestly, we've had this discussion 100 times before. The plainer, the better on that planter.
Yep.
I want Seed Star Drive, CCS, all that, but that's it.
Right.
Take all your other shit off of there.
Absolutely. So Nate, let's talk about that used planter marketplace, for example. Now, so your 15 was the first year of the high speed exact emerge, 1775. The 5 series planter. I guess if you want to talk about 1725s or whatever it is that you want to speak about. So now we're going to have some guys that'll be running 3 years, maybe even 4 seasons on some of the machines that they've got. What's your feel for some of those 15, 16 model exact emerge, max emerge planters coming back in, and what do you think that used market's going to look like for those?
I've only seen one traded in so far that we had up north. I don't know about here down in Illinois, but and it ran 16, so it ran 16, 17. I think we reconditioned it this spring. And they cover a lot of acres. They have 2 of them. And I was kind of surprised the reconditioning bill on it. Maybe our shop, we got all, they were bored and they just wanted to replace parts that day. But
surely not.
I can't imagine that.
Where'd that come liar.
Those are, as a dealer, and us for you need to keep our eyes on those, whether it's the precision high speed or the deer high speed. I mean, they're covering a boatload of acres with fewer parts, I guess you'd say, fewer rows, things like that.
Yep.
So just want to be cognizant of what your expense could be when you trade it in.
Yep.
And then as far as trading it, I think that one we traded it popped pretty quick. Like I said, the build kind of caught us off guard. I think because guy's buying a pretty expensive used planter, and he expects it to be he wants it to be new is what he wants.
Right.
So you just got to be careful when you trade those in. That's a lot of money, and you're gonna plan on a lot of. Your disc openers better be good. The brushes better be good.
Yeah.
Just overall anything bearings or any bushings or anything like that. It can't be sloppy. Just expect to put some money into it from that standpoint.
That's a good point. That's something I never even thought about it. I mean, I thought about it, but never really thought about it till now. And that was even the guy still has a 24-row planter. He might have been running 2, and now he's just running 1, or maybe running a 16-row planter or something like that instead of 2 24 rows or something like that. So like you said, same number of acres but with less number of rows. So your wear on those parts are going to be quite a bit more significant. So your reconditioning cost will be a higher part of that.
If they're running a 36 row, if they had a 36 row and they're running 4,000 acres, and now they're running a 24 row high speed. In theory, those row units are going over more.
Mm-hmm.
They're making more passes.
More pass per row.
Yeah.
So I guess someday we'll be talking about how many passes had that planter make versus acres, but
right.
It's a legit thing.
Yep. Until the drones come.
And your difference between 5.5 mile an hour and 9.5 mile an hour is a lot of coefficient drag on parallel linkages and disc wear and all that. So you got to take that into effect.
Aaron just learned that word just like right now, so he's not even for sure what that means. So.
Is that a NASCAR term?
I don't know where it came. A coefficient drag.
We had to stop at the end and increase the wedge.
Used marketplace. So wholesale guys you talk with, other dealers and stuff out there. What kind of play are you getting on the 5 Series planters?
On 5 Series plant, just the
Talking
regular 5s?
Just 17,
the
75, ME5.
ME5, a little bit. Clean, low acres. Again, base. I've seen a lot of guys in the last year that want markers.
Right.
Yeah,
I have too, man. A lot of people ask me.
Markers are hot. It's trendy.
I guess.
They just look cool, all folded up. Even though you're not using them.
Looks like you're raising the roof. Up here.
That has been something popular. The Exact-Emerge planters we've had around have had a lot of traction.
Mm-hmm.
You use the ones in those.
Yeah.
Just like Nate was saying, though, they're a hard thing to pinpoint as far as getting it in right, not spending too much on it, and still being able to sell it because it is a high dollar used planter. It's condition. I've noticed with the Exact-Emerge buyer, condition's a bigger deal than it is with the 5E buyer.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is just price driven. This 24 row over here is $175,000. This one's $125,000. Other than those meters, that's somebody,
right.
For that $50,000, that some of it better be perfect.
Right. Oh man, you're talking some significant cash, man. These new planters now, I don't care what manufacturer's doing, you're $250 up, depending on how you have them spec'd. And obviously row size is going to make a difference in that as well, but so you have a $250,000, $200,000, $300,000 planter. That used one coming in, even if it's half a new, you're talking $150,000, $175,000 planter.
Yeah.
You lay out some cash for that, someone's going to expect that planter to be real nice, Clark. You know what I mean?
But then just think if that guy is going from a DB to a 24 row. For argument's sake, let's say he's pulling the DB with a 9410R.
Uh-huh.
You really don't need a 9410R to pull a 24 row anymore. I mean, you can, but so then that kind of brings in a higher horsepower 8R, and so then you got a guy that wants a nice. Obviously, he's paying a lot of money for that 24-row high speed. Now he's going to want a nice tractor. He's not going to pull up with a jalopy. So that makes that used market for those maybe even a little bit better too, for the tractor anyway. ARs, big girls.
Yeah, that's where we're seeing them. We have a lot of demand for not even 8 through 70Rs anymore, but the 8400R.
Yeah,
A lot of people looking for those. A lot of guys are out kicking tires on those, and they're wanting. I think, I don't know where the disconnect was last year when they were ordering new ones, that maybe they didn't have cash or whatever it was, but now those same guys, but you're still looking at a $300,000 used tractor. You know what I mean? And
but if you are, but you're as at $300,000 on that 8R, you're still as damn close to new as you can humanly possibly be.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
He's not going to pull with a 1-year-old 8400 manure tractor though.
No, that's true.
Right.
That's true. That's very true. So now that you've gone over to the dark side. Now you're on the parts and service side of the business, and let's.
Hey, I've defended those. So.
You have the one thing I've found more than anything in my years doing this is that guys wait till the last possible minute to get their planters ready, and the winter service inspection part of it. Tractors, combines are always front of mind, and then it seems like 30 days beforehand they want to get their planter ready to go. What do you think some options might be for a guy that want to get that their planters in the shed now and they want to get it ready to go? Give me some options you might think about for a guy that wants to get their planter ready now and not wait till 2 months before next year's planting season.
Yeah, so John Hawkins has done the show many of times. Him and I were just talking the other day about getting if I'm answering your question, about a post-planter inspection and service program, like on the installed parts. But, I mean, I got a little bit two different environments because used to be 6-7 hours north, so it's just a different environment. Everybody want to hold their planters up there because they're afraid of replant. So they get done planting later. The window's condensed anyway. We're down here now. You probably could replant. The window is wider, where you feel more confident about not having to replant. Where up in North Central Iowa, it seemed like a 2-3 week period where nobody wanted to give up their planter or the planter tractor, even though we would beg for them. They parked them in the shed and bury them somehow, so we couldn't get to them. But I would encourage people to just go, in a perfect world, you go straight from the field, straight to the dealer and have them work on it.
Yeah.
To try to, from a dealer standpoint, you're going to be cranking on combines, especially real hard about middle of June. So this is kind of a small window where you can get their attention before everybody starts talking about harvest.
Right.
Or getting excited about it.
Yep.
Because come July is when everybody starts hitting the panic. As a dealer, we start thinking about harvest July 1, and then August we start to panic about it a little bit. So by then, nobody wants to look at a planter.
Yep.
Farmer doesn't want to mess with it, and the dealer's too worried about combines.
Right on. That's
I
true.
don't know if I answered that whole question, but...
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. So,
and plus, if you get it, at least at a minimum, have the customer inspected. As you guys enter into the EOP, you'll know what the damage is, whether it's a high bill or a low bill.
Yep. That's what I think is the most important part of it, is just getting somebody out there to inspect that planter and starting to helping that customer make the decision they need to make about moving forward, about looking at cash flow, looking at the EOPs, looking at the different programs that are out there. Of course, we won't know those programs for a while, but and no manufacturer will yet. I mean, they're still waiting until midsummer to put that stuff in. So when you look out there, Aaron, and the guys you're talking with, what are some of the big kind of drivers in that reconditioning of that planter?
As far as, what do you mean?
As far as right now, looking at it from a time frame now, I know they're looking at, I got my crop planted, waiting for harvest now. I got this little bit of a lull in between. How many of them are talking to you or mentioned to you, like, maybe this would be a good time to get my planter kind of going right now?
Oh, a few. I would say in the last 12-month period, there was not much at all said post-planning, summer, fall, it was a lot of planner discussion from January 1 to March 1. A lot. And typically, I feel like there's always been more done kind of in the fall. To me, it seems like when a guy's out harvesting, looking at yields and stands and all that, the final countdown, if you will, that is a planner creeps into his mind more at harvest than a lot of other times. And I feel like this past year there was maybe a little less of that, and at the beginning of the year, as we rolled over into January, there was a lot more action. A lot of what I call last minute planner stuff. Hey, I'll buy that planner, but can you get it here next week? Be like, no.
Yeah. It's usually how it works, isn't it? Usually how it works. So, one last topic here, and we'll kind of get through this one. Used combines. Your shops right now got to be busy with getting some combine work done, getting those combines ready to go for harvesting that far away. What's your shop kind of parts business look like, and then what do you see out there as far as used combines go?
I would say from a shop perspective, I haven't analyzed Martin Sullivan yet to figure out how many signed up and how many they've done. I saw in the next, actually hopefully tomorrow docket. But what I experienced up north was people were pretty good about maintaining them. There was a little bit more. Last summer going into the fall, it felt like there was more resistance to fixing everything versus maybe we fix it as it breaks. We saw maybe an uptick in that. I guess what I'm trying to say. Fixes fail. So I'll be curious to see what is in store for this summer, because you rack up 2 years of fixes fails, you may get zapped come harvest time, or more importantly, when combine EOP run comes around and when people are ready wants to trade at the end of the year, if there's a lot of fixes fail type mentality, there's going to be some large combine reconditioning bills. So the sales department needs to be aware of, and really you need to find out the history of what has or hasn't been done to that rig probably over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
we trade them in.
Absolutely. What are you seeing out there, Aaron?
A lot of the same. There's less, hey, let's fix everything, and a lot more really try to squeak that through. And I know, I do a lot of leases all over the place on combines, and that's kind of the approach the guys take on those. Like a 2-year lease, you have that first year they fix everything. Let's make sure we get through year 2, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And I think there's so much of that going on. It has a trickle effect into other areas too, because there just is not a lot of bring your combine in, do a green light, do A, B's, and C's, every single thing.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I think we beat this one to death, fellas. So, Nate, you got any final words you want to throw out to the world before we shut it down?
No, I can think of nothing that would add any content to this.
I'd ask Aaron the same thing, but he has zero content.
We know I can add no content.
Aaron, you got anything you want to throw out there?
I don't.
All right, man.
I don't, man.
Well, Nate, if they want to look up Martin Sullivan, how would they do that?
Just go into our website, martinsullivan.com.
Right on. Okay, Aaron, where can they find you at on social media?
On Twitter, at Aaron Fintel, or my cell phone, 308-760-1193.
Right on. You can find me, Moving Iron LLC, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also go to movingironllc.com, where you can find more information about the Moving Iron Summit in Las Vegas. You can also look at past and present episodes of the Moving Iron podcast. And if you really were bored and have nothing else to do, you can read a blog that's on there. And they're just ultimately will shape your life more than you could possibly ever imagine. So
people still read?
I think so. I think Siri will read it to you, if I remember correctly. So until next time, this is Casey Seymour,
Aaron Fintel,
and Nate Wisehart. Let's go out and move some iron.
Take care.
Out.